Welcome to Alex and Annie, the Real Women of Vacation Rentals. I'm Alex.
And I'm Annie.
And we're here today. This is, I think, maybe only one of two first of the month episodes where Simon has joined us right from the beginning because we have a lot to cover today. So this is also first of the month. Simon Says. Simon, welcome to the show.
Hi, Alex and Annie. It's great to be back.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a very special episode too, I would say. Annie and I had this, or Annie, this has been this past month, a huge month for both of us. Big life changes. The timing of all of it has been quite unique, I would say. Today is November 1st, 2022. We launched the podcast on November 2nd of 2021. So a year from tomorrow. With this week, we are both starting two new careers. Yes. We've changed jobs. Miraculous timing on all this that was not planned or intentional. But first, let's start with you. What's your new news and your new journey going to be?
Oh, so for me, so like you said, we had a really big year and we decided that we were going to be open to opportunities that came our way. And I received a job description that literally Simon could have written for me. It was the best. It really was just perfect. I mean, very like small things that weren't suited to me, but I started yesterday as Director of Business Development for US and Canada for the Homes and Villas by Marriott team. Super excited. I had been working with them closely and got to know a lot of them and really liked their product. We got an opportunity to meet with Jenny Shea recently, talk with her. What an amazing leader. So I could not be more excited to be joining this team. It's going to be a little different because it's a large organization. I haven't been with a large organization since Expedia days, but I'm really excited. And I think that kind of all the seeds that I planted are now growing, and this is the signs that led me here. And I've been preparing for this opportunity and this job for many years. So I think it's just, I don't know, it's almost kind of a weird pinch me dream because it's just going to be a great opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so proud of you and so excited for you.
you.
And I agree. When I saw the job description of it too, I thought, oh my God, this is the perfect job for you. So yeah, I think it's going to be great. And yes, I'm so glad that we had Jenny on the show just recently. I hadn't really gotten to meet her or know her at all prior to that. So that was kind of like a vetting of your new boss a little bit.
Yeah. She got to know me. I got to know her. And I will never forget because when my interview with her got scheduled, it was the same day we were supposed to record. And I was like, I don't really know that she wants to spend her entire afternoon with me. And they were like, no, this is fine. And so we met and she was so cute. She said, before we got off the call, she's like, don't worry, I'll clean up. I'll get dressed up for our interview for the podcast. And she looked great. She just wanted, she just changed outfits and changed like where she was in her room. But it was great to sit there and talk to someone who's just a dynamic leader and as we always look at, a dynamic female leader in our business. There's quite a few of them that we've had an opportunity to connect to and talk to and meet through Simon. And Simon, I would be remiss if I didn't thank you for everything that you've done for me. And I'm going to tear up now for me, but also for Alex. You've been a big champion of both of us and supportive and a great mentor and a great sounding board for everything that we've tried to accomplish this year. And so just thank you so much. And we couldn't be more pleased to share our moment with you.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. And congratulations.
So Alex,
too.
Well, thank you. And so on the flip side, Alex has some big news. It got announced a little quicker before mine was, but you were able to sort of reap the benefits of being able to announce it last week at VRMA. So tell us more about it.
Yeah, so I am going to be starting today, actually is my first day as Chief Marketing Officer, CMO for CasaGo. And this is kind of like your opportunity, something that just almost presented itself at the perfect time and could not be the more perfect role, I believe, for me also. I met Brian Dame back in February, actually, at the GNEX conference that Amy Highnote had invited both of us to come out and speak on a panel about vacation rentals and timeshare and vacation clubs. And just really enjoyed talking to him. We all had dinner that night. And I remember him saying at the dinner, he said, or he asked if I knew Steve Schwab, his partner. And I said, no. But he said, okay, well, I really want to introduce you to him. And I said, okay, well, next time we're all at an event, please do. And we didn't talk for a few months after that. And then he reached out over the summer and he said, I really want to introduce you to Steve. Like, let's get on a call. We need to do this sooner than later. And just had a great conversation with both of them, and then Steve individually, and just learning more about their organization. I just became more and more intrigued, and just really interesting how they've built this company based truly on culture. And I had posted over the weekend, they don't use culture in that word in a cliche way like people do in their materials about what a company does. They really live it, and they've built this company with people that truly love the company, their franchise owners, their staff, their homeowners, and it's really become multidimensional. So continued that conversation, and they are kind of at a similar place to Condo World when I first started with Condo World 13 years ago. Casago is 22 years in business. Condo World was 22 years in business, both doing great things, but just ready to take it to the next level. And I could not be more excited and honored to take that position with this company that as I've learned last week at VRMA, even more so than I already did know, is so well respected. And just hearing everybody's take on Steve and Ryan and the team and their leadership just makes me so inspired to have this opportunity. So really excited to get started. And I think it's very cool that we'll be able to kind of document this journey together. I mean, we've both been in our roles for a long time, and change is scary, but it's exciting at the same time. And it's going to be another amazing adventure. So I'm really excited.
Yeah. Well, we're adventurous. I think we've learned to embrace that. And I have to say, I didn't know Steve, and I certainly had never met Ryan, just connected with them, but met Steve in Nashville at DARM. And what a great guy. And then just getting to know him a little bit more and spending some time with him, I have to say, I kind of feel like sometimes I'm a protector of you, and you're my little sister, and I want to make sure you land well. But I feel really good about where you're headed. And again, back to their culture, I think that they're doing it for the right reasons, and they're doing it from the heart. And it speaks to, hospitality. And what we talk about all the time is that the people that are the most successful at it, they might have a good business plan, but if they're doing it from the heart and they're sincere about what they're trying to do, then success is going to come, and it's going to be great things. So I know you're going to do amazing for them and grow their business, and I'm excited to see where you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And it reminded me of, we had an episode earlier this year with Marcus Radar from Host Away, and he talked about the premise of planting seeds, and how that we kind of positioned it turns into a return on luck, and how when you plant seeds, you might meet one person, but then they connect you with somebody else, and it wasn't intended, but then you look back and you realize, you didn't get, this wasn't a lucky break. This was the seeds that have been planted along the journey, and everything happens for a reason. You can't connect the dots until you're farther ahead forward to look back. And that's definitely been a theme of you and I this year, I know. So very exciting.
Yeah. Well, Simon, so you know both of these organizations really well. And I would love to know your thoughts on, what you think our impact is going to be for both of them.
Well, first of all, I want to congratulate you both for three things. Obviously, your new positions, you very much deserve that you two, as very important individuals that share the passion that we have for the vacation rental, being taken by, two very incredible companies who want to get something done in this space. So congratulations. That's awesome timing. It's very exciting. I'm very proud of you. And I would.
You froze, Simon.
Uh-oh, he's frozen.
Are actually working, which is awesome. On the other hand, I think this is sort of the start to talk about VRMA and what do you think about the companies. And I can talk a lot more about HVMI than I can talk about Casago. I now finally know it's Casago. So it's Casago. and I've always struggled, but now Alex is the CMO, so she can help me to make sure I'm not going to make a mistake with that.
Well,
let me
brand.
stop you there. Let me stop you there, Simon. So I asked Steve actually at the Home Runners event last week. I said, which is it? Is it Casago or Casago? And he just looked at me and he said, yes. So
yeah,
to your
it's
point,
not
Alex
it's not defined yet.
Alex is going to try to, she's going to try to figure that one out for us.
Yeah.
So now let's start with. So first of all, I won't offer my condolences to you for taking these jobs. I think you've done exceptionally well, and an interesting space to say the least. And I flip back to some of the key topics at VRMA to take away. We talk a lot of conversations that I had at VRMA last week in Vegas was about platform, scale, profitability, franchise, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I think both of your companies fit straight down into that.
Yep.
And the second thing I also tell both of you is that the most consistent thing in life is change. So let's adopt, let's embrace it, right? And we need to embrace change because it's the biggest consistency that we have. And if we're open to change, we're gonna do great things with the opportunities that are given to us as well, and not looking back, looking forward, and embrace change. And that's what we're in. Mm-hmm. We are again in a change period. We came through COVID. We had massive challenges. We grew, the business grew till 2019. Then we went through the ringer, and then it grew even further. And now we have recession looming. We have other things looming. We have Bacasa restructuring. We have interest rates raising. We have a lot of things happening around us, especially in Europe, but also in the United States. And our industry stays humble, and we stay focused, and we stay determined. And these situations, they create new opportunities within the industry for people to say, okay, we take it to the next level. And that is super interesting to see now, where everybody's trying to reach for the stars, and you see different business models coming into the industry, one of which is HVMI. So when HVMI was launched, and the first time I heard about Merit coming to vacation rental, my comment was, whoa, now we need to really get dressed up well, because that is going to be a monster, right? Yeah. So, the opportunity of HVMI coming into our industry was massive, because they're managing 6,500 hotels plus, of which they own none, maybe 6 or something they own, and the rest they're managing as a brand, have more than 80% direct demand. They know how to create a hospitality experience. And then I said, if anybody can do it, it's going to be Marriott.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So obviously the time is a bit more challenging, because it's a totally different industry, and it took HVMI a lot longer to wrap their heads around the hyper fragmentation of our industry, the different type of ownerships. HVMI was focusing, was approaching property managers with massive contracts that people have never seen before. So I think it takes a while to sort of get adjusted and understand this industry. And by the way, I'm super excited that Billy is now in the team with Jenny as well, and comes deep down with the experience of vacation rental. And I think HVMI has a massive opportunity. And now with Annie on board, I can sleep very well.
Well, I'm glad to give you comfort.
Absolutely. And in because Casago, what Casago concerns, I have an equal interesting conversation. Obviously, I knew Steve for a long time. I've met Ryan through another tech company many years ago as well, that he was involved in. And I met them as super cool individuals. But then I had the pleasure to spend like 3 days with them locked up in a villa in Phoenix. Last year, we had sort of a STR network event with Dave Krause and Michael Golden and a few others. And Stephen and Ryan were there too for 3 days, and it was mind-boggling. So that was the first time I really started to understand where Steve wanted to take Casago as a business and as a culture, and Ryan joining him. They've been in touch with me on some opportunities in Europe as well that they wanted to pick my brain on. So we've been in touch for a long time, but I've never really, and then spending these 3 days together with them really made me think, hey, they're onto something which I like. And especially it's done through leadership. It's about sharing passion. And I spoke to some of the Casago franchise companies as well in the past, and they love it. You know, they think they're part of something great and a family,
Yeah.
and things are pushing forward. So, and again, it's a different model, right? So we're seeing, you know, so far Vacasa as the consolidator has not proven the maths. The metrics don't match, right? So this is a big situation for the US, because everybody was looking at who is the next platform business. Can you scale it, make it profitable, and everything else? Haven't been able to. That's a setback for all of us. This is actually possible. Well, what is the recipe to do that? And I think Kazago, in their approach and their humbleness, together with Steve and Ryan and the team that they're building now, I think they have a potential ingredients for the recipe to be successful in what they're trying to do. Still needs to be proven. That, you know, I've had a lot of conversation at VRMA of people saying, you know, we want to now franchise because we hit a glass ceiling. We can't do more. We can't just all franchise, because we need to think this thing through, right?
Right.
But I think for both of you, it is super exciting. Two different models that have definitely many legs to stand on. And I'm absolutely certain that they're going to go and take you places, and you will take them places too.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you
That's
very
the hope.
much. Yeah. But it is interesting too. You bring up a good point that, I mean, Marriott coming into this as their experience, and there's, you know, the professionalization and the standards and running franchises as hotels, you know, worldwide, and Casago coming in as the vacation rental company, but that has built out the franchise model. I think there's some really interesting synergies there between both of our positions, and what they represent in the industry is, you know, completely non-competitive, but trying to attack kind of the same problem. You know, that professionalization is something that is important, and being able to enable operators to make the best of their business. I know as far as Casago is concerned, I think the opportunity there, and what drew me to it is, you know, a lot of companies or a lot of people don't necessarily want to sell their business when Vacasa comes knocking on the door, or somebody else comes knocking the door, but they also know that they are drowning in being able to keep up with the technology
Complexity.
and and I think that's really kind of what the advantage there is, to be able to get, you know, leading software products. Steve was co-founder of Streamline, which is enterprise level software, plus several other products, all under one under the franchise. So it's going to be exciting to see where it goes. And I think same thing with Marriott. One of the things I loved about when Jenny was on our show, she was so humble to admit that, you know, they know that they, you know, write your pen and your purpose and pen, your path and pencil. I think they've realized that what they originally intended has probably shifted a little bit, but they are open to knowing that that's part of this learning curve for them, because it is different than hotels. And I think that as an employer and in a company to work for you, Annie, I think that's a really good thing, because I think you're going to bring also a lot of information to the table with your wide breadth of vacation rental experience, just like you did back at Expedia back in the day. So that's a good thing to be flexible and nimble.
And I really, you know, it is exciting to know that they wanted to step outside kind of their comfort zone, because their comfort zone is the hotel business. I mean, that's what they know and they do well, and they're incredibly well respected. And I know, to Simon's point, I was kind of in the fold when they started, and I remember looking at their first list of requirements, and it was pretty daunting what they wanted. I completely got where they were coming from, but coming from the property management side and understanding what it takes for a property manager to enter a space that has that level of requirement, you know, that level of requirement to enter, it was going to be costly. And so I think that, you know, we talked to Jenny about this, and I love the fact that they are understanding that they need to be open and mindful that this is not a business that they are experts in. They want to be, and they want to understand it, but just showing, again, you know, hiring Billy, he was from, you know, the urban rental market, and then myself being in vacation rentals, I think we're bringing a lot to the team that will learn from them just as much as they'll learn from us. But I think that combined, you know, you put that amount of brain power together, we can do a lot of great things for the industry. So
absolutely
super exciting. Yeah.
I want to be the devil's advocate, and I like how you make this humble environment, Alex, and say, we're non-competitive. Let's talk in 12 months. So first of all, congratulations for the 12 months with Alex and Annie. I like to be controversial here as well. Maybe HVMI is moving its position too. They have the power to do that. And then all of a sudden they get into the property management business themselves because they think they know how to do it. It stays interesting. Let's put it this way. So I think if you ask me, I don't think HVMI has found its spot yet, clearly, within the vacation rental value proposition. Clearly, as a distribution channel with a clear standard in terms of product and experiences, and et cetera, et cetera. But Marriott has the ability to go a lot deeper in that. They have access to education, hospitality that nobody else has, and this could be interesting. So I wouldn't leave that non-competitive piece just for the next 12 months, and we'll pick it up and see, and see how things will evolve.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting, but again, I think that it's just, for both of us, we're joining two like really powerhouses within their space, and there can be some collaborative nature between the two of us.
Totally.
But in that, we're both going to be working for organizations that are trying to advance vacation rentals in such a way that the broader public sees us as as good as or better than hotels, and not that they are mutually exclusive. I think that they operate in, it's not siloed, but I think that it's again what the consumers want at the time that they want it, and we can offer it, from whether it be Casa Go or whether it be Marriott, HVMI. We have so much to be able to offer, and together we're going to be able to just advance the purpose and the message of what is professionally managed vacation rentals, or even short-term rentals. What does that mean?
Right.
Yeah, and we need to do more together. The fragmentation of this industry is absolutely mind-boggling. And when we met Saturday night for dinner, and then Alex just had her first VRMA board meeting, and she was telling me, what are the units that are represented by VRMA members, just makes your head spin. And said, guys, we need to work together in this industry. There's no time for competing and killing each other. The market is big enough. There's 1 million units that everybody can go for. We have a super long tail of small businesses. It's actually crazy. And that's what I love about you guys as well, to come in here and say, we have a collaborative approach. We want to bring this industry together. We want to professionalize this industry. We want to do better things together instead of fighting each other and like literally abusing our competition. We have no space for that. The hotel lobby has always been so strong. Hotel lobbies was always very smart, and we can't do it, right? We have advocacy here, advocacy there. Everybody wants to do something. Others don't want to do anything at all. And we talked about advocacy in our conversations before. And for me, it just became apparent again, going to VRMA, where you have a conference of 2,500 enthusiasts who love this industry. Hey, we need to move together because otherwise, we're going to be taken apart. And I remain at my point to say one of the single biggest risks that vacation rental has, especially in the United States, is regulatory issues. And if we don't stand together as an industry, create standards, professionalize this thing, regulation is going to take us apart. That would be a massive shame. So we need to change our views and the way we deal with this industry and do this together in a joint effort, and then we have a chance to win.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about working together. It's all about collaboration, co-opetition, however you want to phrase it. I want to have one side story. I just want to make sure I would be remiss not to mention this, but right before VRMA, our Myrtle Beach Chamber of Commerce and CVB, we actually went down to Panama City where Annie lives, and we spent 4 days. This is 4 days before I went to VRMA, meeting with their chambers, their CVBs, several different organizations down there, and just hearing about how they recovered from Hurricane Michael, also about their economic development, tourism, a bunch of different things. But it was a great trip. I didn't get to see Annie, but it was great to see that area. To hear, it's so important, I think, to hear from other people whether it's in our industry or if it's on a DMO level, if it's talking to other areas, it's so important to have those collaborative working relationships. Like, you don't have to reinvent the wheel and figure everything out on your own if you're open to knowing, okay, this is not a zero-sum game. It's better if we can all work together, because there's enough business, there's enough tourism going around, we'll be fine. So that was a great experience too. And I think going into VRMA, as you mentioned, Saturday was my first board meeting, which I would be remiss not to touch on that too. It was excellent. And we had a strategy session for the first part of the day that was so good. They had a gentleman from Smith Buckland that manages VRMA, the organization that manages VRMA, come in and lead a really collaborative session, just trying to plan where we want to go as an organization. And it was great. That was the perfect first meeting to have. And I really think that everybody is on the same page with where we want to take this organization. I think when you can align people as to what the goals and the vision are before diving into the actual tactical parts of it, that's where magic really happens. And I think there was some magic that happened on Saturday. So excited to be part of that going forward. And we'll see, how that continues and how we can further define the organization and the product. It's two different brands, the VRMA brand within the B2B side, but then also the brand of vacation rentals, short-term rentals. We are not Airbnb as far as the consumers are concerned. So that's pretty exciting too. But let's segue from that into, Simon, your takeaways from the conference. This is the first one that you've been to as an attendee and not had to moderate. And so I'm sure you probably had way more conversations. Yeah, you normally do.
Yeah, I don't know what I missed more, but I had a great time. That's why I'm still recovering from my cold as well. Did a lot of networking. I actually was there for 5 days in Vegas because I have direct flights from Zurich, so I really enjoyed it. Yeah. And I avoided the gambling machines. I didn't need any ATM at all. I went to the ice hockey game in Vegas, which is pretty crazy on Thursday night. Yeah. So that was a good start to do something totally different in Vegas. And I'm not the biggest fan of Vegas. Let's put it that way. I always find the flight out very great. And but it was a great conference. I really enjoyed it. I had amazing conversations. So this year, as you pointed out, Alex, I focused very much on networking. Had a lot of meetings, like back-to-back, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, literally all the way up to my running out of the airport. I did a podcast with Matt Landau, which was a highlight for me.
Oh, great.
Matt and I, we know each other for years, and it's been like a Tom and Jerry relationship, and we never really figured out why, and we had an awesome talk. So I'm really looking forward to that podcast. That was a massive highlight. Just literally on the way running out of the hotel, I swung past the hotel room for an hour, and we had a cool chat together. In terms of takeaway, so one thing that was interesting, we see a lot of money in this industry. I have never had more conversations at a VRMA conference with private equity and investors than this year, right? Mm-hmm. So that's changing, and I am absolutely adamant that next year's conference will have more private equity companies attending. So there was private investor dinners that I was able to attend with an investment bank, which was incredible. We met incredible individuals that are invested into this industry. I had many different private equity meetings in terms of companies who are looking for technology acquisitions on PMSs or anything related to the value chain in tech. And then I had a conversation with private equities who are buying vacation rental companies. So one of the takeaways that I had is that the buyer universe has entirely shifted, right? So for the last few years, the buyer universe was sort of this company in Oregon, and there's another one in Florida, and then a few others have been acquisitive. But actually, that was sort of the buyer universe, right? And then, Casago did a few things, and there has been some small acquisitions. That landscape has changed. And for me, it was mind-boggling to see that the buyer universe has actually expanded dramatically. There's a lot of acquisitions within property managers who are trying to grow. They have made some good cash, so they have money to invest and buy more. There is private equity companies who are coming from all over who want to buy luxury rental companies. So it's really, so the buyer universe has entirely changed. And it's interesting, that was really apparent that, and I think as the industry professionalizes, there will be more capital coming into this industry, and next year we will see twice as many private equity firms. We will see more investment banks. We will see more M&A companies. I mean, I had a private dinner on Monday night, which I was totally blown away by the people who were there, with a very large investment bank, and they're doing deals above 100 million. So this has changed. So this is not what we have seen for the last year. So that's one that was a massive takeaway for me, and that's going to be bigger even next year.
Do you think that that's people coming in to buy? Is it the technology? Is it a combination of property managers and technology? What do you kind of see as maybe the sweet spot for these investors moving forward?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. I mean, I think, they're attracted by the business model. So low assets, so assets and asset light business investment class, asset light. The margins obviously have been quite compressed. There's a lot of competition, but there's still way to make money here, right? Mm-hmm. And they like the unit economics. They like the nature of this business. Yes, it requires investments on the direct distribution side, on the technology side. There is still so much tech adoption that you can do to actually lift your guest experience, to automate processes with, all the things we talked about this year, automated door locks, automated check-ins, check-outs, guest experience, guest communication, upselling opportunities, like what have hotels done for a long time. So I think investors see that this, as the vertical of vacation rental is maturing in the times of operators and how we adopt technology, the more interesting it gets for investors. And not just for classical businesses who are inside the industry, it's actually for new ones who think, hey, we like this category, it's asset light, so we're not exposed to, to high interest rates or anything the like, because somebody else owns the property. And it's anti-cyclical. Vacation rental is resilient as anything can be in any travel vertical. We don't have aircraft sitting on our balance sheets. We don't have cruise ships sitting on our balance sheets. Yeah. So this is totally different to navigate. And as the interest rate goes up, we have a chance to get more supply because people can't afford their houses anymore, so they need to start renting them. So I think, it has proven that vacation rental is so crisis resistant over many different cycles that we have seen.
Yeah.
And this is attractive to investors, right? So I think, and they see that if we take this from a level where it's operated with 50, 60 units to a higher level, then there is money to be made. And we've seen some great examples. Village Realty, very successful, highly profitable. They just bought Real Joy. I mean, there is some big stuff going down. And it's not about the ones who just make noise all the time. It's the one who just deliver and achieve, right? And I think we need to be very mindful. And I'm absolutely excited to see all of a sudden the people who come to these conferences are actually quite different to what we have seen in the years before.
Yeah, for sure. And I think at least with some of these equity groups that they're purchasing, they're leaving the leadership in place in a lot of cases if the leadership wants to stay. And that makes a big difference versus, Vacasa, for example, that comes in and in most cases, the main leaders of the company, they're not there at all. And, Annie, we had an incredible opportunity to speak with Rob Graber from Vacasa. And I had a private meeting with him, and I felt really good about that meeting. I think he definitely has his head on his shoulders as far as being truly a hospitality, individual leader. And and understanding that, previously they had said that they were a technology company, and now I think they're realizing too, that's not the best stance to occupy. You have to start with hospitality. You can be hybrid, but one thing that I love that he said was, he kind of just didn't want to say one way or the other. And I get where he was coming from. So it's like, we don't need to pigeonhole ourselves into what we are. And I think they had to go public, but to a certain extent, it's like, it's okay to be both. It's okay to be hospitality and technology too. But got to talk to him a lot about what the changes Vacasa has made in markets has done for destinations, and taking out some of that key leadership. They're not part of the boards of directors on the tourism boards, and that's just really changed and has the future change more going forward. So that was an interesting conversation, but it'll be interesting to see going forward, with these private equity groups, if they come in, how they still keep people in place in a different manner.
Yeah, and I think Oh, I'm sorry, Simon. No, one thing that struck me with talking with Rob was that he didn't want to make it about him. And previous leadership, whenever you saw them speak, it was very much about, I did, this is what I led, this is what it was a very singular mission that the organizations appeared to be on. And again, there was a family, some family that started it, and leadership change over time. But I think that there was an arrogance that was attached to it, that he doesn't operate at that level. Like, he's confident, he's hospitable, he understands the industry. And I think that he realizes that, again, it goes back to, what is the culture internally, but what is the culture externally? What do people perceive it to be? And he, Alex, I had some conversations about this. I think that he's got some cultural things that he has to address from the outward perception, for sure. And there are people that want to, constantly put them under a microscope for everything that they do. And to Simon, to your earlier point, I have said from the very beginning, like, we need them to be successful, because if they're not successful and it falls apart, then the industry gets a black eye. So we need to cheer them on. We need to give them guidance. We need to give them support. I think we can be critical and, in terms of saying, like, what you're doing maybe isn't in the best mindset for where we wanted to go as a global industry, but really, at the end of the day, we have to cheer them on. And I think that Rob's a good leader. And again, knowing what he did with Agencia at Expedia, I didn't know him personally, but he did a great job there. And I think Simon's a big fan, as well as myself, of Dara, and anybody that comes out of, as Simon says, Dara's kitchen. They've got a great skill set and a good mindset to lead a team to the next level. So it'll be interesting to see where they go in the next 6 to 8 months, for sure.
Yeah, I totally agree. And that was also a massive highlight for me, to catch up with Rob and see the enthusiasm in the team. And I happened to walk down the hallway and they just grabbed me for a group photo. So I ended up on the entire exec team.
I saw that.
So I don't know. I don't know what the rumors are out there, but I know. I know the guys from Turnkey as well. But no, it was a great conversation, and I could not agree with you more, Annie. I mean, at the end of the day, we wish them luck. They need to be successful for our industry, and there will be some changes made. Absolutely. And in that relation, it was interesting. My second largest takeaway from that conference is, I have never heard the word franchise more often than this year in every second conversation that I had, right? So property managers are hitting a ceiling in terms of what they do. And then they say, well, I've done well in my destination, I might as well franchise this out. Now, if it would be that simple,
it's not that easy.
A lot of others would have done that before. So that's very, very, very challenging, because for a franchise, you need to offer good tech, standard operating procedures, a consistent product, but then you need to have a consumer-facing brand as well. And so far, nobody cracked that code. So I think that's easier said than done. A lot of people want to grow further. It's hard to grow into new destinations with your own means, because it's hyper-local, as we all know. And therefore, franchise is very easy, but who wants it, right? So I think it's going to be extremely tough. And, one thing that you pointed out about Rob as well, it's not about an ego thing. And that's something I love about Casago as well, because it's about the success of the team, and it's not the personalized, person who builds this or whatever. It's actually the team that makes things happen, and that has just such a far stronger connotation to it and feel to it, that it's about the business and the team behind and the brand than an individual person, and that's something I really like to see at Vacasa, and it was well overdue. That somebody just pushes the team to its limits. So it's not about an individual, it's about the team and the brand. And that's something I really hope that they can turn around.
Yeah. And one thing that we did encourage Rob to do is he in his humbleness, he was kind of saying, I don't want to be front and center as the main person of Vacasa, but at the same time we said, Well, when somebody does not take the voice of an organization, you let other people take the voice for you. And that has definitely been the case that, the industry, we've all just kind of spoken on behalf of Vacasa, because up until this point, there has not been anybody that's really steering that conversation. And so we encouraged him to, still be more present. And I think he's doing that. Obviously, he definitely showed coming to this conference that he wants to be, but just being more present and letting people hear his leadership. And Steve Schwab is very, very, very humble as well. But I think he does a great job of being on these panels and letting people see, behind the curtain a little bit of who he is as a leader. And I think that would be a good move for Rob to do as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I have no fear that Rob will end up on the menu. That's definitely not the case.
Yeah.
So Simon, I had a question to dovetail off of that, unless you had another one on Vacasa. Alex, did you?
Oh, no, I don't. No.
Okay, I actually wanted to, because we're kind of getting close to the end of things, but I wanted to get your take on, you attended, you walked the red carpet, and thank you for stopping by and seeing us at the Home Runners event.
Oh my gosh.
I had seen I think a previous cut, and then Alex and I had the chance to see that before we interviewed Steve Milo, and just watching it. And I think what Matt is doing to try to humanize these companies and these organizations and show that being in vacation rentals or short-term rentals is not about being passive. It's not passive income. It's not a set it and forget it. You have to be very in tune with, again, the markets and the people. And I think that Matt did a really good job, the entire team, putting that show together, and looking forward to the next episode with Casa Go. What was your thoughts on what they're doing with homeowners, and maybe where that will take the kind of the overarching opinion or education of knowledge of our industry as a whole?
Yeah, that's a tough question. I definitely have my opinion on that. I think at the end of the day, we need to showcase our product to this industry, vacation rental, and we need to showcase the experience. We don't need to see executives drinking wine together and stuff like that. So this is, again, to the conversation we had before, it's about the product, it's about the people who make it happen, the service people, the cleaners, the maintenance people, and the product. We need to showcase the experience of vacation rental a lot better, and show the true value, also the value creation towards homeowners and guests, what vacation rental is all about. So this is what I love about this. We need to still showcase the product called vacation rental to the consumer out there. We need to showcase the amazing properties that we manage, how we manage, and what is happening behind the scenes to make it happen. So I think this is what we need to do a lot better, and that we can also do employer branding, so we can actually have people coming and say, I want to work for this company. That's incredible what they do with hospitality. I want to be part of this team. Right. This is fun, etc., etc. So I think that's where Home Runners needs to go. It's not about the individuals showcasing individuals. It's about showcasing vacation rental, what is happening behind the scenes, and what kind of value that property managers, professionally property managers, are actually adding to the guest experience and to the value that is created for the homeowner. Let us not forget that still only 35% of world supply is professionally managed and 65% is not. So there's plenty of business out there for us to grab and manage, but we need to do a better job in showcasing our value proposition. And that's, I think the platform is amazing, and I congratulate Matt for what he's done, but I think we need to showcase the product better.
We also need to just say thank you to everybody for that. Also, the Home Runners premiere, just the event itself was exceptional. And it was such an honor for Annie and I to have the opportunity to host the red carpet that day and just get to interview some of the top minds. And it was exciting. I think overall, there was just so much excitement in the air for that event and really for the entire conference. I think that the energy was right. And it was, you saw many more people laughing and smiling and laughing than frowning and crying, for sure.
Yeah.
Which sometimes you see at conferences. So.
Oh my goodness.
No, I can only second that. It was an enormous, great conference. I really enjoyed it. Positive vibe, without a doubt. I love OK to charge for bits because they had a balcony to get out of, which was awesome. So I can get out of the conference hall without having to walk half an hour. So no, it was actually, I really enjoyed it. It was a great conference, and it will be interesting to see where VRMA is taking it from here.
Yeah.
You know, to even create a better event in the future. You guys have done an awesome job on the red carpet. You know, you don't get to walk on red carpets that often. Myself,
no, never done it before.
And you guys have done an awesome job. And you know, I want to thank you for everything you guys do for the industry. We at AGL, we want to support you all the way. We're super proud to be part of this network. And as we said, together we are stronger than doing things on our own.
Absolutely. Everything happens in the right timing. And I think, you know, just working with you and everybody at AJL has been wonderful. And we appreciate your support of the show and both of us personally too.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, we've got to wrap up now, but Simon, thank you so much for joining us again today. This is a big episode for Annie and I. So, and there's nobody else we could think of that we'd want to join us for it than you. Yeah. Absolutely.
It's always a great pleasure. Stay well and looking forward to the next one. Congratulations to you both. And congratulations, Alex, for being
Thank you so much.
On the board
of the VRMA.
Thank you so much. We'll put Simon's contact information in the show notes. If anybody wants to contact Annie and I, you can go to alexandanniepodcast.com. And until next month, hope everybody's having a great day. We'll see you soon.
Take care.
Thanks.